Welcome to the Tragedy Academy, where you are the teacher and we are the students. Together, we will learn from past tragedy to lay the foundation for a better humanity. The only supplies you'll need, an open mind and a sense of humor. So, tilt that chair back, talk out of turn, and never raise your hand, because this is the Tragedy Academy, and class is in session. Non pura scala.
I was just waiting for you to say that the person sitting next to you when that happened was like Forrest Griffin or somebody. Because I don't like the idea of having to take a punch if my phone is on when there's a whole bunch of
bells went off like day one and everyone's like, just say something.
No.
Nobody said
punch Chuck Liddell. It's not high on my list of things to do. You guys, let me know when you're ready, and we can roll in. You've got some t-shirts sitting behind your head.
Oh, yep.
You can just
Thanks
toss
for
them back
seeing
there.
that.
Yeah.
All
Nice.
Everything
Think
else
I'm
good?
good. You like my shirt? Into the AM, man. Into the AM. That's that brand.
Oh, it's nuts. I mean, I'm going to have an acid flashback from the 70s.
I love it, dude. All right, guys.
So, see, now I'm going to have to stare at that for a while.
Isn't it cool, man? All their shirts are that way. The artists are insane.
Okay. Okay.
You feel better now?
Like, why is he just staring at my chest the whole time?
That'd be an interesting show.
So bad on camera.
All right. Welcome to the Tragedy Academy, a show created to bridge societal divides in a judgment-free zone using candor and humor. My name is Jay, and I'm joined today by my co-host, Gary. How you doing today, Gary?
Good. How you doing?
Living the dream, my man. And I also have my father-in-law here, Gabe Torres. How you doing today, Dad?
I am doing good. Sorry you called me.
Sorry that I called you. I'm pretty sure you're telling the truth. Actually, Gabe is here today to talk about his time as an immigrant coming from Colombia to the U.S. And more importantly, we kind of, Gary liked the idea of getting some background on street ball and what it's like as a young immigrant coming to New York and playing in that area. So I'm going to hand this off to Gary because I think that he's got a really good line of questions he wants to talk to him about. Go ahead, man.
Thank you very much. And thanks for being on the show. I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start, but I always wanted to play basketball as a kid. I'm 5'4", if that. Grew up in Cleveland, really big sports town, and ice was terrible. I went whole seasons without scoring. So it was a dream from the front row, to play. I watched tons of street ball growing up. There was these And One mixtapes that came out in the 90s. That was hip hop music, and all the Rucker Park and everything got really popular again. So phenomenon. They even had street ball leagues. How, have you seen any of those, and how is it the same or different from your era? Or if you could just describe, what street ball was like in the 70s.
All right. You're asking me to go back centuries. I'm sorry, bad word. But really, I started out in Colombia. Let's transition from there to Manhattan at some point. But started out in Colombia in the early 60s. Watching somebody play basketball was something that kind of caught my eye. In sixth grade, seventh grade, the high school said, "Hey guys, you want to play ball? We have a coach. If you have some aptitude for this, we'll get you trained, and then we transition you into the lower grade of basketball here at the school." I said, "Yeah, I would like to do that." So I had this whole coach and started with dribbling and started with passing and starting with conditioning. And gradually, the more I did it, the more I liked it. So from there, then the high school had some sort of league, and things developed from there gradually. The once a week became twice a week, 3 times a week practice, and dribbling, passing, shooting from the foul line. 2-point shots at the time, there weren't any 3-point shots. Only if you get the charity line, you would do your 3-point shot. But beyond that, it's
Gabe, what's the charity line? I don't think a lot of people are going to know what that is.
this is what you throw.
I feel like this is made for me.
When you throw, you get fouled and you get a shot. And if you get fouled in the act of shooting, you would then go to the charity line and get somebody.
Slang for the free throw line.
Yeah, the free throw line. I like that. The charity line's a great way to
charity
describe
stripe,
it.
they call it sometimes.
Okay.
See, there's a different language here. So somehow the next thing I know, I am in an expose in the local paper called El Tiempo. It's is famous in Bogota for that. Talked about the teams being part of that league and blah 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 blah. Okay, so it became a thing to do until I went from sort of that high school into a much higher end high school, which was what was that? The Christian Brothers of La Salle. Okay,
That sounds very strict.
I'm just trying. Nothing.
My knuckles just hurt hearing that name.
Not only that, you have to equate that with the Explorers in Philadelphia. This is the same, same league, kind of speak. Well, okay, so back there, back to Christian Brothers of La Salle. This is where the real ball started for me because I had an excellent coach, somebody who had been part of the national team of Colombia. And then my skills really started to develop. Next thing I started to hear point guard rather than shooting guard. I think, wow, that kind of professionalized stuff. All right.
That's people that don't know. That's like the quarterback. That's the guy that decides how the plays are run, right?
I must have had some brains because the guy kept giving me more and more stuff about do this, do that in this situation. And I said, wow.
Well, you're very mindful. You're aware of things going on around you all the time because you don't talk a whole lot. You tend to pay attention more.
No. You see, you learn more by listening rather than running your mouth. Hey, there you go.
And I never even learned that because I was too busy talking.
Yeah, I had to start a podcast because I ran my mouth too much.
I've got 4 noses. This is nose number 4 because of that exact same problem.
So back to the story. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. I haven't been able to speak this long into a microphone, and I apologize for that if I miss here or there. But
well, I got one question for you. At that time, still we think of South America as a soccer culture, football. Was basketball popular back then? Were people playing it a lot, or is it new?
No. Basketball was a thing to do at a higher level. Soccer is a thing to do for everybody, and everybody gets into soccer, and some do right and some do also, and some fail. But soccer is a thing to do no matter what.
It sounds like, because I get what you're asking here, I think that it's similar to like in the U.S., soccer is that white collar, upper echelon sport. Everybody that's rich plays. Where in Colombia at that time, it was the kids with money that went to the academies were playing basketball. Versus, like lacrosse or something like that, like we would do here.
So, to tailgate on your thought, also, I was lucky enough to get a need scholarship in this high school. All right, so I rubbed elbows with people with money, okay, and all political affiliations, good or bad, and hey, it was kind of my scholarship, believe it or not, in high school. And I did good grades also. And that was a requirement to stay within whatever they offered, the Fathers and Mothers Association for the school. That's whatever. So my basketball thing continued to develop. At some point in my junior year, somebody tapped me and said, would you want to run a sports club in school? I said, what is that? I don't know. It has a name here in English, which it eludes me right now. But yeah, it's like, you want to manage this damn thing? Yeah. What am I going to do? It's like a small Olympics within the school. In other words, I went from basketball to running chess, to running track, to running the soccer thing, and then some other things. And then, wow. And then, by the way, at the end of the year, you need to put in the yearbook a summary of what you're doing. It's like the managerial thing that I've been trying to do. Okay, so...
What year was this, or around what time?
Between 66 and 69.
So the world's going to war. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, absolutely. It was a refuge for me in many areas. And incidentally, at the same time, I was doing my military service. I was doing my basketball, my regular schoolwork, and then on Wednesdays and Saturdays, it was the military thing to do because it was a pre-requirement. This is when Vietnam thing started,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And you needed to be kind of ready. You never know, blah, blah, blah. Old stuff, politics. Towards the end of 1969, again, I run the sports club. I think colleges here call it intramurals.
Yes, that's what I played.
Right? And that's
Poorly.
you get there no matter what, whatever you want. And I did again a major thing for intramurals, and it got published in the local papers. The TV station came and do exposés on us and all that. And all the time I was kind of behind the scenes, organizing referees, paying people that needed to be paid, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a managerial job that I was doing, and I didn't know I was doing it, but
Someone
I
had
was
to do
doing
it.
it.
I have a question. So
Yes,
this
sir.
is you're living in two different worlds here is what it sounds like to me. You're living in the upper echelon rich world, running around with these kids and having these interactions. And then you're going home where you're not on scholarship and you're living with all your friends and family and things like that. What does that look like? Because I can see how some people might have some jealousy or you were able to bring things back to them, whatever it might be.
It's an excellent question because while in this high school environment, yeah, I got exposed to people with money. These people came from any part of the Colombia, and you heard my dad has this, my brother has that. We are politically connected with this and that. And I was a poor sucker, pardon the language there, but I had to go home and reconcile that. Yes, there was an adjustment. And then many times, hey, we're going to the coast. You want to come? We'll fly you. We'll take you. Oh my God! And things happened, and they took me. But
Flying
I
was
could
not that
never,
common.
I could never invite any of them to my house because it was a poor place, a poor apartment. That's all it was. Yeah, that was an excellent question. Thank you for asking.
And that's rare back then, probably in Colombia, going on a plane, and it's
No, yeah, you
like a
you
lot of
have
people didn't do that.
There are people there that have money. It's just they're not. You don't know them.
You don't even know where the money came from because we're talking about
Right,
the
that's
60s
the
and
other one.
70s. Yeah,
That's the other one. You got to be very careful too.
Got to blow the powder off those dollars.
Yeah,
You
there's
don't
some
know that.
questions, right?
You don't know that. So, I graduated from high school in '69, and from there, reality hit me. I still got connected with the school as an ex alum, and still play ball, but I needed to work. Uh, I was in my late teens, and mom needed help. So I went to work for a very large company in Colombia, Avianca Airlines, especially a subsidiary called Coviajes. And Coviajes was part of a industrial league. And I say, oh my God, did I get the right place too? Because it afforded me to continue to play ball and then help out the family. All right.
Perfect scenario.
So we had I had to hire the coach because these people knew that somehow I had an idea how to play ball. They said, no, we'll pay the coach. You select it. Here we go. All this managerial business.
That's a lot of power to be picking the coach. I think only LeBron gets to do that now.
Yeah, absolutely. I could say that. So I did work for this company a couple of years. But then one day my mom said, dude, you really want to continue to do this? Before you get married and start to have kids, there is an opportunity in the United States. And that kind of resonated with me because she said, look, you have some lost cousins that can help you. you're in the airline industry, you can get free flights from Bogota to the coast and from the coast to whatever, the U.S. And hey, mom was right because I looked into that and Bianca said, yeah, when you're eligible for vacations, we'll give you a trip to Barranquilla or Cartagena. And from there, if you want to go to the U.S., we can use Pan Am. The
a
good
big one.
old Pan
Wow,
Am,
that's a
believe it or
long
not.
time ago.
Believe it or not. And so one day somewhere in July, I said, hey, guys, I need some vacation time. I already had bought my dollars and I already had my passport and I did it. The thing is,
Were you nervous?
oh, yes, I was. Absolutely.
All alone.
All alone. I'll tell you the story so that I'll piece it together with the basketball once in the U.S. I was given a free ticket to Barranquilla. And then I had somehow booked through Pan Am at a heavy discount, again, because it's part of the industry, to Kingston, Jamaica. All right. And from there, Pan Am would pick me up. Pan Am would be coming from somewhere in Europe and pick me up for free and drop me in New York City.
Didn't you just complain about like a short flight from Vegas to here?
I was just like, okay. You end up in Kingston for, a 2-hour layover, ends up being 3 weeks, right?
No.
I
I timed it so that I did it all. I laid over in Barranquilla for about a night. Then I did my connection to Jamaica. And in Jamaica, Pan Am was great. I mean, God, what a way to go.
Well, back then it was an elite event. You wore
Yeah.
fancy clothes, a
Yeah,
top hat,
yes,
and
I wore
a long
sweatpants. I don't think there was anyone. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A poor guy from Colombia looking into this, I say, wow.
Probably had real silverware and a tray.
Yeah.
And
And
they give you
the girl, let's kill the ladies, okay, whatever, used to come and say, what would you like to eat? It'll cost you nothing.
They don't just
We'll
throw
give it to
pretzels at you back then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Angrily?
Yeah,
no old peanuts.
Yeah.
No, instead of the cookies and the peanut. No, that was heavy stuff, good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm there the middle of July and get off the plane and my English wasn't as good. Whatever I learned in high school, it was important, but my enunciation or pronunciation wasn't there. So get off the plane. I go to the bar and I said I wanted a soda and I couldn't articulate. Then the bartender said, how about a beer? I said, oh, yeah.
Welcome to America.
Yep.
How about a beer? I said, oh, okay.
Doesn't taste
And
like
then he looked at me and said, son, are you old enough to drink? Because I look like a kid, I said, yes, sir, I am. I'm old enough. I'm 20 plus. Okay, we'll give you a beer. And you got any money? Cash money? I said, yes, sir. I have a couple of dollars. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that will do.
Yeah, whatever you got. Oh,
whatever you got.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, it's $988. Correct.
So
There
I
went all
drank
your
the
money.
beer and I felt much better. And I waited for my connection. And next thing I know, I'm all the way into New York City.
That's got to be crazy. I mean, especially
I'll
from
tell you why.
Jamaica then to New York.
I'll tell you what. During the flight, I started to chat this two girls, little teenagers, blah, blah, blah. You know how things are. And it turns out that the two girls were from Barranquilla and they had my last name as their last name too. I said, look at here. You must be lost cousins because, wow. All right. So we talked things a little bit, gave information about me, blah, blah, blah. Next thing I know, we landed. The person that was supposed to greet me at the airport Wasn't there.
Yikes, man. That's a
Yikes,
huge
that's what I
city
said.
alone.
I
Yeah.
am lost here.
Now you didn't have an iPhone. You couldn't just call Uber.
No. This
It was
is
like, what do I do?
what is. Hey, are they going to understand me when I start to enunciate my broken English? Yes. I'm going to have a problem here. Next thing I know, I'm going to have the cups all over me or whoever it is. So I'm sitting there waiting for the person that was going to pick me up. Lo and behold, these two girls come out and say, "Hey, dude, did your friend came by to pick you up?" I said, "No, it's kind of late." "Oh, and where are you going?" "I think it's somewhere in Manhattan."
Easy to find.
Near the bridge.
Only 30 bridges.
Oh my God. I said, "Okay, we're waiting for our dad. Our dad happens to be working here at the airport. And maybe we can ask our dad to give you a ride and drop you off." Thank God.
Very nice of him.
God bless me, I said to myself.
People don't do that these days. They're like,
No.
tough luck, buddy.
Exactly right. You said it absolutely right. So I waited like, I don't know, about an hour. And then the dad shows up and the girls tell him. And he said, "No, not a problem. We'll take you. We live in Newark. This is JFK to Newark."
It probably sounded like New York.
And just, I'll drop you off, not a problem. Oh, God
Why
bless.
is everybody fist pumping?
Oh, yeah. I think that
Jersey.
Yeah, that's the other part of Jersey.
So, we take a ride. He dropped me off. It's kind of nearly midnight. All right. He drops me in front of this 4-story building.
So midnight, Manhattan.
Wadsworth Street,
Oh
right
my
near the
God.
bridge. And the guy said, "Okay, this is it." I said, "God bless you. Thank you so very much for this help. You saved me a hell of a lot of trouble."
Maybe dropped you off into a bunch of trouble.
Received these old cousins open the door because I knew somehow from letters and things from before that sometimes things weren't kosher. All right. So I go up the stairs. They were on the 4th floor. Okay. And I keep banging on the stupid door and nobody opened the door. I went back downstairs and I have my luggage in my hand and I see this cup on the corner and I say, no, let me go back up again and back on the stupid door. Suddenly, after a while, somebody with sleepy eyes cracks the door open and says, "Hey, what do you want, man?" Of course, I said, "Mom sent this letter and said to me to give it to you so that you know who I am." So he gets the letter, opens it. "Holy shit, you're my lost cousin. What are you doing out there, man? I've been banging on this door for a while and I think you were asleep." He goes, yes, I was. I'm sorry. I just came back from work, blah, blah. Come in. My blood pressure went down when I went in the apartment. And there was another cousin there. And I say, "Oh, you look familiar. I've seen you around, but I haven't seen you for ages." I say, "Yeah, I'm here. I understand your mom sent you a note." "Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah. Okay, we got you. Come in. We'll take care of you." All right. That's how I landed in the U.S.
I got so many questions.
You got sent on a plane with a note pinned to your chest by your mom to live in a new country with half the language. That's amazing.
Not only a new country, but the craziest part of the whole entire country. Manhattan, midnight.
Yes. That sounds terrible, but that's how it was. I did have some money in the form of a check in my pocket and some loose cash too in my pocket, but my biggest thing was the conversational piece. I say, how the heck I'm going to do it if I'm really going to be in trouble. All right, but no. My mom always told me that I was a lucky guy for some reason. I said, now I know what my mom meant. All right, so I'm there in the apartment, and after a while, I started to get my bearings. One of the first things I did was
Tell me how it looked when you got. People see Manhattan now, and it's Times Square. It's big late lights. Like, what was it like when they opened that door and they let you out of the car and you had to look at this for the first time?
My biggest eye opener was the bridge, the George Washington. I said, "Wow, I never seen anything like this." And then I go to the apartments and I said, kind of dingy. They're full of graffiti. My God, I don't know. And then I see on the street all the double parking and all that stuff. I said, wow, there's a lot of people in this area. And the apartment building does not smell any better. I said that was an adjustment, but I said, I'm here. I am among people that kind of know me a little bit, which is a great pressure relief as far as I can tell.
Did you want to turn around? Was there any part where you're like,
yeah, the first time when I started banging on the door and they never answered, I said, now let me go back down and see what am I going to do next. But then when I'm on the street and put my luggage on the sidewalk and I glance to my right and there is this cop looking at me like, what the hell is this guy doing with this luggage at this time of the night? And I said, no. Let me go back inside the building and keep banging on that stupid door. That's what I did.
So many bad things could happen.
Good thing you went back and pounded on the door.
Yes, because he finally woke up and read the letter, which was good. And the other person that was supposed to pick me up, he kind of forgot about me or something, or had issues with travel from Brooklyn to JFK. That's a trip.
You managed to make it from Colombia to Jamaica to JFK, and this guy couldn't get from Brooklyn?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, thanks, buddy. You had all day.
Yeah.
You have to understand the story with some immigrants. They tend to stay in clusters where they're like a cocoon. Okay, yep. You speak the language, you continue with the things that you do, wherever you came from, etc., and sometimes they don't venture.
Yep.
I learned this later on when I went back to school to help out with my English. Okay. One of the advices that I got from my teacher at the time said, and this is another story. I said, yeah, you need to kind of get away from certain crowds and you need to start to assimilate. That's what I was told.
Immersion.
Yeah. Later on, when I started to do some work, the first thing I learned was go to the kitchen and learn all the pieces in the kitchen, how they interact, how they play out, blah, blah, blah. And then you got to follow me this very carefully. My biggest change came when I was talking to this lady who happened to be an accountant, something like that. She comes to me and says, hey, you're the new face in the restaurant. This is the Steak Pit in New Jersey. What's your name? I said, my name is Luis Gabriel Torres. What? Run it by me again? I said, Luis Gabriel Torres. You know that whatever you said in an English-speaking crowd is girl's name, both of them. So from now on, call yourself Gabe, which is the Jewish thing to do. All right.
And Gabe ever since.
And that's how I got baptized, Gabe, forever. That's how my wife knows me. That's how he knows me. That's how my children know me. But in a Spanish-speaking crowd, Luis Gabriel Torres is a male's name. In an English-speaking crowd, it's not. You got to watch what you say.
Yeah.
And I took it to heart.
That was some good advice she gave you, probably.
Yeah. She was a Jewish lady because it was a Jewish restaurant. So she gave me that.
Speaking of good advice, your mom at that time said, hey, you're not married. Like,
yep.
Take this chance. And that had to be scary. And moms don't want their sons to be away from them. She knew she was going to miss you, but she said, hey, you know what? Give it a shot. You know, How important was that?
Again, moms have this network. Okay. My mom had this cousin of hers that had this cousins, lost cousins here. And they said, they already went up there. Why can't you be with them? I know somebody else that can help you. Yeah, Mom, before I get in trouble with anybody, okay, I'll give it a shot. Well, that was up until this days. Okay. So let me bring you back to why I left Manhattan. Again, enjoy the trips in the subway. This is when subway talking was 30 cents and the meal at McDonald's was 90 cents. And the
I get you
minimum
the
wage
straw
was,
now.
and the minimum wage was what? $5? Something like that. Okay. Again, I couldn't take the way the city was, the pace, the odor, I don't know, the ambiance, really, the whole word there.
So it smelled, so you moved to New Jersey.
Yeah. So
Said no one ever.
I'm a country boy, but fortunately, I did not go south towards Newark because sometimes when I went by Newark, I said, this smells worse than New York.
People say that.
And it's all because of the chemical industry. So I
Yep.
went up northern Jersey, borderline with New York State. Okay, so that's where
Teaneck, right? Teaneck, Paramus area.
I started in what is it, Palisades Park, and then I went to Inglewood, New Jersey, and then I ended up in Emerson. This is where my children started to develop. Okay, and I had my eldest go to high school there. My other two kids go to elementary school there. And all along, I hated winters, okay, because
I'm from Ohio. I feel your pain.
Colombian in the snow doesn't sound like. Well, that actually sounds like something else.
right.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Doesn't sound right. Doesn't sound right. And I also, because of a growing family, we needed space, so we were able to purchase a home at the time. I have a tidbit for you here. Back then, I thought of purchasing a house at $45,000, astronomical amount of money. I don't know. I think it runs in the millions now. I don't know how it is, but
Probably in that area, probably millions.
yeah, nowadays. And then I learned about other things, home maintenance, taxes, insurance, et cetera, et cetera. So gradually I started to immerse myself in the culture. Again, I kept pretty much the advice of somebody saying, hey, look, read English, enunciate in English, go back to school, fix your accent as much as you can make it, and try to finish your school. All right. So I try to do that, but when you have 3 kids, you have to have a full-time job. You have to have a part-time job. And then if you have time, maybe you can go to school. But I don't know. Sometimes it's a challenge. Okay. So that's what it was. I stepped away from basketball because of this needs. And I needed to help the family grow and develop. All the while, I watched avidly basketball any way I could because that was my escape. And Jay here can tell you, hey, the only thing I come here to watch is basketball.
Oh, he's in the theater. He's down here.
Yeah.
It's on in every room, and it's,
Right.
it's hysterical.
And I follow college basketball as much as possible. I follow the pros as much as possible. And the thing that ended up my basketball little career was, it's a strange term. It's called facial
Plantar fasciitis.
I have that.
There you go. I say, I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I got to watch because
So
I had enough with the elbows to my head, and I had enough with elbows to my teeth, and I had enough with gashes on my back and legs and things like that, etc. A 5'9" fighting at 6'6", 6'10" is not a good fight, especially where you're under the boards. So no. My favorite way out of there was shoot twos or threes, what they call now, from the corners.
A little fadeaway.
Yeah,
On my
gotta have a
fadeaways
fadeaway.
beyond that, but nothing else.
So you were playing in a high-end Catholic or Christian schools with a lot of rules, I would assume, in Colombia, and respect for the rules and a referee and all these things. Then you get to Manhattan in the street,
Yes.
in the
Okay.
park.
Good question. Thanks for asking.
There's no rules there.
No rules there, absolutely. All right, absolutely. You survive.
You got elbowed
And
the
if
first
you
time
got
and we're looking
good-
for the ref. And then
I say there's no ref, man.
Nope.
And then you got to be a good lawyer too to convince the other idiot in front of you that no, you're really picking hard on me, man. Watch your elbows. No. They grab your pants. The next thing you know, you're on the floor. And then
Oh, they give you the Globetrotter? They pull your pants down?
yes,
No.
yes.
did they have the bucket of water too?
Like,
Yes,
Jesus.
yes. And the other thing is when you fall to the asphalt, because that's what it was. Okay, you got to be very careful because there's broken glasses, things like that. All right.
Sounds just like the nice gym you played in high school.
No. That was wooden floor.
Yeah.
Here you're talking asphalt. This is, and the rim does not have a netting too. So you really have to have a good eye when you shoot.
And it's rusty and sideways. and
Yes,
there's holes in the
absolutely that.
backboard.
And then full of graffiti, whatever colors and names and all that is in there. And then that's what you find in the city.
First time I went to New York, I went to the exact same area you're talking about to see the graffiti at the basketball courts.
Yeah.
I wrote graffiti growing up and spray paint can tattooed on me. And
Yeah.
I went to those courts in the it was like 187th Street, somewhere around there. They have a graffiti hall of fame. And it's crazy because like I went for a different reason.
Yeah.
Like I was into basketball and stuff, but I still have pictures. And it was just, we got off the subway and it was just, and I grew up in Cleveland in the city. So it was not rural, but man, it was the energy and the feel. And
Yeah.
guys flew by on dirt bikes. Guy had a t-shirt tied
Mhm.
around his face with a machine gun, like
Yeah.
flies by. And we're like, oh shit, and I've been through a lot of stuff at that time,
Yeah.
but it was just like chaos, but there was like so much going on that I didn't know where to look. There's pretty girls here and they're selling stuff on this corner and they're playing basketball over here and there's gangsters over there and there's music playing everywhere. And like,
Yeah.
how does it like able to like take all that in when you move there and like live here now? Like, how do I deal with it?
Okay.
Sensory overload. It's
so much.
it's overwhelming.
It's an adjustment, pretty much. Let's say that way. Also, I had played street ball in Bogota, many parks. Okay, and I knew that hey, he's a run. We're gonna pick him last, so I got used to that. And then I got even when I start shooting, that was a different story. In Manhattan, the thing to do is pretty much along those lines. All right, wait till somebody picks you because you're only 5'9". You're not going to fit with us. We'll use you as a filler. Yes, absolutely. And we pass the ball when we feel like passing you the ball.
When they want to
But
break.
when they pass me the ball, I better shoot right and make it count. Otherwise, they wouldn't pass
You
me
would
the
go
ball.
back out there.
Yeah, you're never
No.
playing again.
Right. Now, the other thing was when picking 4-on-4 or 3-on-3 or 2-on-2, hey, I'll play you for some money. I'll play you for some money. Okay, you got 50 running on this if we win.
That's a lot of money back then.
Oh, yes.
That's the rent.
You needed to be very careful there not to get hustled like that because you would see some of them and they looked like they couldn't play. But when it came to money, they became tigers because they wanted your money.
White man can't jump.
Yep.
Yes,
Great movie.
something like that. It was when I watched the movie with Buddy Harrison, whatever his name, I said, yes, you're right. You were one of those. You got different face though. That's how it was.
And sometimes your partner was on the other guy's team and you didn't
You
even
got
know they were hustling you.
Okay.
That had to be so what's that like? So you talked about the language and you talked about coming into the city and you're out there on the courts.
Mhm.
I've lived in foreign countries and been at that loss of a certain amount of the language going
Mm.
over your head and having to take things out of context and things like that. So when you're out there on the court and you get into a legit disagreement, because these happen on the court
Yeah.
all the time, how does someone like yourself in that position reconcile that situation? Basically being alone because you're not out there with everybody else. You're out there with them.
That is correct. You have to pick your fights, all right? See how much you can handle. The best way is use your conversational skills to bring the person down to a level where you can then reason with them. Starting swinging because somebody kind of pulled your pants down or gave you an elbow on your chest or slap you on the back of your head or cut you up with whatever, you know. It's you have to hold yourself accountable for that incident and manage yourself to a point where you can deflate this situation. If not, you're in for a big trouble because next thing you're going to be running to an emergency room.
Never learned that part. I was at the emergency.
No. Now, I'll give you another tidbit. I'm playing ball somewhere in the court, and I'm fighting for a rebound. And the next thing I know, I have this cut here. And I say, what the hell caught me? And I'm trying to stop the bleeding. And next thing I hear is from this guy, sorry, dude. That was the one that elbowed me right on my forehead.
Ouch. An elbow to the forehead that makes you bleed is really hard.
Yeah, my head hurts a little bit just thinking about that.
Yeah. So it's when I say, okay, guys, I think I need to stop here and go take care of myself. Okay, another tidbit. This is in New Jersey. I'm playing with these guys in a public park near, the fire department and the police department public park. Because I used to do it on the weekend, pretty much. So I'm there playing the big guys, da-da. And suddenly one of these big guys, I don't know, starts hyperventilating, okay? Starts foaming at the mouth and starts shaking.
Seizure.
And the only thing we could do for him was run to the fire department and say, hey, this guy's, having this, that, and the other. By the time he got attended to, he had died.
Man.
The diagnosis was heat stroke. So sometimes when you play sports, if you don't hydrate, you leave interval between sports activities, you get hurt if you don't watch yourself.
Watch somebody literally die on the basketball court.
Died. We were very scared.
That's rough.
Another tidbit in New Jersey, I got to work for a very large book publisher, Scholastic Magazine.
Familiar with their book fair?
Yes, we used to have that. We did.
I started as an hourly, ended up being a manager. But in that journey, I used to have a boss who used to work for, who used to play ball for Berrien Community College. He was a center, okay? And somehow we sneak out right next door to Scholastic Magazine. There was a hidden court where you can play ball. So the more we know each other, the more we kind of sneak out and during break and go play, 2-on-2, 5-on-5, something like that. And the nicest compliment he ever paid me, he said, boy, I cannot leave you alone. You shoot the daylights out of things. You have a clean shot. I said, thank you for that. It's practice. And it goes from there. Many instances, it's just kind of a social environment. And I would say basketball has been my life, really, because it kept me out of trouble. It connected me with very nice people, gave me a sense of purpose, uh, hard work, etc. And to this day, yeah, this is the reason why Jay says when he comes here, he goes right up there to watch this stuff.
He does. He
Yeah,
does.
it's
He
true.
does. Did you find that because we're talking about a lot of stress, we're talking about a lot of different lives and different areas and things like that. Did you find that basketball gave you sort of a mental break? Even though it was work, did it give you some kind of rest or the ability to separate yourself from all of those anxieties and the situations going on around you?
Uh, Again, basketball was my outlet. If you precisely put it in the right place. It was more like a deflating situation where all the stress and all the things from life got kind of evened out, attended. Okay. And it also was a great social environment where I could meet people, and judge characters, and judge other things. So, yeah. And most of all, the teamwork part of it and how every piece interacts with each other. And sometimes when you interact with the right people, it's a lifetime journey because oh, I met this person, and next thing you know, this person is calling you, and social environments grow and becomes professional environments and things like that. That's how it was. It was a lifesaver for me, really. I didn't ever do drugs because I know it would problems. Smoking or drinking wasn't a thing for me to do because of my upbringing and not only in school but at home. So I've been most of my life a grunt, hard worker, and much less a troublemaker.
That's
There's
amazing.
still troublemakers around that environment. How did you manage to navigate through the people in the parks and you know, some of the players you played with were probably gang members or had ties to different organizations? How did you manage to be around them but not ever get sucked into it, especially with the money and stuff that was probably around at that time? That
Again, part of my education, my let's say religious education, because I did have bishop in the family. I did have sisters in the family related to religious orders. My religious education was mostly in high school when most things counted. Um, all that kind of play a part on how how I was formed, really. How I learned to respect and differentiate things. Uh, Meaning, you could you could see somebody in high school. This is a good example with a wad of money in his pocket, saying, "Hey man, let's go party." And I knew what it meant, and I said, "No, thank you. I pass on that. I don't
I wish
need
I
it."
would have learned that one too.
Man, I didn't know no thank you at all.
No, no,
Except
no.
for the vegetables.
Yeah.
And then uh, the other one was, "What are you doing this weekend? I'll bring you. I'll pick you up, and we go do some partying." I said, "No, thank you. I don't want to owe you this favor. I'll I'll pass, etc." Then there were others that the moms and dads had own a restaurant. Yeah, let's come over and eat. I say, "Oh, I'll take that one. It's easier."
Good call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to ask with the immigration piece coming to the US and leaving family behind and making those small connections like on the plane and things like that. Um, if you were to look to someone that is coming to the US now and they're in that situation, how do you help them reconcile the lack of family that is a natural family, and how do you create a new world in a different area or a legacy, because you have a family that you're planting here and beginning a new culture? How do you do that?
All right. From all the steps that I've gone through, when you're in Italy, learn like the Italians do. Speak Italian and eat spaghetti. I would say for anybody and everybody, key to the United States, of course, education, whatever possible. The language must be respected. Learn it is important. When you're here, you don't have to be in a neighborhood where everybody speaks your language. You need to separate yourself. In other words, immerse yourself in the culture of the country. The country is the one that welcome you, then fully embrace it. When you don't do that, then you're still there, no matter where you come from. All right. Respect pretty much the things that are given to you. See them as an opportunity to learn and grow and continue your education. It's important that you do that. If you don't do that, then you still have yourself to blame for because you didn't make the effort. And don't always take the easy route. There is hard work ahead of you. If you don't do it, again, things will come back and bite you.
You never heard, you don't hear the word easy and immigrant often in the same sentence.
Oh.
Doesn't seem like that's a path in life that is riddled with, extra help. You have to grind. But we were talking about this earlier. The difference between success and failure is one word as far as I'm concerned, and that's action. And everything that I heard throughout that trip was another step, regardless of what was next. It was turning those pages and just waiting to see what comes to you rather than worrying about a long-term future.
Yes, I agree with you on that one. Again, you're given an opportunity, take it. Go from there, really. Again, if you're fortunate enough to have enough education, don't stay there. It's important. You need to evolve too and blend in. If you don't do these things, you're left out because, I need to go back to my country every year because I need to go back to my roots every year because you don't know how many opportunities you're going to have anyway. So again, make up your mind. Be here, not there.
Interesting. But you don't have to give up your culture in order to do that.
Absolutely. I understand that. Don't deny it. Your accent is always going to be there no matter what. You're not going to cure it. But you can improve your accent a little bit. Yes, absolutely you do. Don't be a stupid ass. Hey, learn. Continue to learn. You continue to learn. Hey, I come from the rotary dial era. I still have to run to my son-in-law to help me with apps or my son, the engineer, to help me with downloading certain things, or my wife to help me out with other things. And while I'm here, let's do some tribute to my wife. Now that Mother's Day is coming, I was very fortunate to have met her. And pretty soon we'll be married 50 years.
Wow.
So it's another thing that kind of is very important and is lost nowadays. If you have disagreements with your wife, okay, you need to manage them, resolve them, and continue.
Admit that you're wrong, that they're right every time.
I'll give you this. No. I'll give you this advice that I got from a doctor because I went once and I was telling the doctor, look here.
She's driving me crazy.
Yep.
I am itchy. I have this pains. I have this, that, and the other. And by then, I think we had our second child. So the doctor runs all these kinds of tests, right? And he calls me back into the office and said, Mr. Torres, I need to talk to you. Yes, sir. What's wrong with me? I asked him. he took his stethoscope away from his neck and said, "Look here, you need to learn this, and from now on, don't ever forget it." I said, "Yes, sir. What is it?" "All right. In your household, your wife is number one, your children are number two, your pets are number three, and you're number four. If you can get that in your head, you will never, ever, ever get sick." "Yes, sir."
I went
took
to the
him to heart.
doctor with that same conversation about itchy thing before, and it went a totally different way.
No.
He gave me some good advice.
and a cream.
every time I tell this story, I say, "This is how I'm doing it." The other side of the thing is simply this one too. I said, "I am the boss in the house, but my wife gave me permission to say so." That's the other one.
But, you know, what people don't know is that you're not the only immigrant. Your wife, my mother-in-law, is also an immigrant from Italy and came from a farm,
Yeah.
not a city, not prepared for I mean, at least you had Bogota in the rearview mirror. She had goats and...
Yep.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah, it is an adjustment for her in many instances, because sometimes she turns her head and says to me, "Hey, how the hell you manage this?" I said, it's like ducks with water. They'd follow my plumage
off your
and
back.
then they'd roll off my back. That's how I did it. Okay, I need to learn that. Okay.
But she's Italian.
Yeah.
So that's tough.
Dear God.
Amazing food. Amazing loving
food.
woman.
I am, to this day, grateful because I look the way I looked when I first came to the country, because she's very particular about her food, how she makes it. She grows her own things. I guess I don't give her enough credit for those things too. Although I do have the background, the farming background, I kind of got blended into the city background and I kind of lost it. Now that we have come full circle, now I come dusting off certain things that I watch my grandparents and my parents do, you know, in the countryside. All right, so
Back to this Italian food
oh,
talking about.
But that's a blending. I mean, you really had like a household of different types of foods, different cultures. I mean, while Italian and you know, Colombian are similar, Latin, you know, Catholicism, the whole nine, there's still got to be a lot of differences in backgrounds and things that we wouldn't recognize from the surface.
all right, that is a loaded question. So let's see if I can skirt around it.
You could call and see if you could answer that question.
Yeah, I think I
Did you
would.
get a lifeline?
I would.
Yeah, lifeline.
I would get permission to do. I guess the biggest adjustment I had to make was one day when she took me to introduce me to her parents, and I was used to rice and beans and a little bit of meat, etc. I go to her house and they give me what they call the antipasto. I say, okay, so it was a plate full of spaghetti. And I say, whoa, that's dinner. Great. So I
you're
ate
getting started.
So I ate the whole thing. And then they come and say, are you ready for the next steps? I say, how many more are there? I say, yeah, we need to eat this, that, the other, and then we got to drink. I say, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this.
You're in a lasagna coma,
Yeah.
antipasto,
Yeah.
everything in between.
So
Yeah.
back to this Italian food.
Yeah. But again, whatever she makes, I'm very fortunate to have her do that for me because I stay away from McDonald's. I stay away from sweet stuff.
Yeah,
for
for those of us looking at the camera right now, how old are you?
I'm 74. Uh,
Better shape than me.
Way better shape.
so again, it's all relative to my upbringing. I was fortunate enough in my forming years to have fresh food. Okay. And I'm fortunate enough to marry a lady that knows food from the time she was school in Italy to now. She's very mindful of what we eat and what we do and what she makes and how she makes it. And sometimes I take samples to my work and give it to other people. And I said, God, this is really, really good. I say, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's definitely her love language. I mean, when
Yeah.
it comes to how she
Yeah.
takes care of the people around her, food is one of her go-tos. 9 o'clock in the morning when they were living here, I had 2 cheesecakes, both made, as well as I had fried shrimp at 9 a.m. one time.
There you go.
As an Italian myself, my mother's about the same age.
Mhm.
That's it. I mean, it's, I'll get in really good shape. She comes and visits and tells me how great I look. And then it's just food. Like, well, I'm not always here. I'm like, you're a lot. And I gained 20 pounds.
Yeah,
But
yeah, absolutely.
it's the same thing. Like you wake up, it's peppers and eggs. What's
Yeah,
that
you
smell?
know.
And then it's till night.
Yeah.
You want a little snack? Like, sure, a little snack. It's like,
There
there's
you go.
no
The
little
little
snack.
snack.
No such thing.
no.
No such thing. I asked for cheesecake and she made a New York style and an Italian style ricotta. And they were both sitting there by like 10 a.m.
And they were 9 pounds each.
Oh, they were. They had heft.
Yeah, that ricotta. That's like, oh, okay. Yeah, that'll do it for you.
So do you have anything else, Gary? Or you feel good about this?
I have a million
No,
questions,
go ahead.
but we're going to talk about music a lot this year. And it's something that we, our friendship has grown through our love of music.
Absolutely.
1969, New York's, or 70s, like that is an era of music that will live forever. When you got to New York in the early 70s, what songs do you remember? Is there bands or music that was playing that brings you back to that time? You hear that
Great
song, it
question.
brings you to New York in the
Okay.
70s.
In high school, we had a special class called Musical Appreciation. Again, this is all with the Christian Brothers of La Salle. We were given a special room where we would pick our own things. And mostly, in my case, it was classical music. Okay. Then we were to render an opinion about the pieces you were listening to and what resonated most with us. I liked the class, but I did like the Beatles more. Back
The
then.
Beatles are amazing.
They were amazing. Those things are later on. It transitioned to Tom Jones and Gilbert Humperdinck. Most of my musical education came from that era. And to this days, yeah. When I hear Tom Jones, yeah, I know. When I hear Hamburger and Gilbert Humperdinck sing, I know that brings me right back. Okay.
What about listening to that iconic time frame in the 70s when things like Curtis Mayfield are coming on and there's revolutions from inside the city and things like that? There's a lot of strength in that moment. What does that feel like when you step out there and you hear those kinds of things?
It was an adjustment because
There wasn't much Engelbert Humperdinck in the parks in Harlem at that time.
it was the thing to do. But this other music that Jay mentioned it was an adjustment and an educational thing that you need to kind of understand. Pretty much like the rotary phone dial versus, hey, Siri, call so and so. That's a big adjustment too. But I stay true to the classicals because I learned that in high school. It was cemented in my head and my heart. To these days, favorites are Luciano Pavarotti, okay, Celine Dion, Whitney Houston when she was around.
I feel like this isn't Charles Barkley's playlist.
Yeah.
Maybe Whitney.
Maybe Whitney.
Yeah. And then as far as classical music, New York opera, that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much it. I do have another Italian. I must mention him. It, um, his name escapes me, but every time I put it on in Pandora, my wife says, "Turn it off."
Is it Don Ruckus? I think it's
Yeah.
Don-
No,
I'm gonna send you some stuff for your wife.
not Dino Martino. No.
Eros Ramazzotti.
No.
That's the only other Italian
So I'm going to ask your question.
Andrea Bocelli.
What do the shoes look like on the court back then? What is everybody wearing? And who's bragging about what?
It was Converse All Star or Pumas if you can find them, because again, there wasn't much of that thing to do. The thing is, for basketball, you could use tennis shoes, but the higher end would be Converse All Stars, Chuck Nevitt, along with the ball with Chuck Nevitt's signature on it. It wasn't pretty much comfortable because if you didn't wear
Those things are not.
Not at all. I can't even wear them walking
if you
around
didn't-
town.
if you didn't have the right sock, you would have an injury on your plantar region underneath your feet. And then if you didn't tape up your, the bottom side of your leg, you would hurt. And then if you played in asphalt, oh boy, that would be an issue. The best place to play was in a parquet court. Yeah, that I had the pleasure to do it, and because
You could stop.
yeah. And it would be good on your back too. So that was a thing to do. And I was fortunate enough to do it in many of these high schools I was we were playing with. It was an exclusive league, you can say that.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Super, super cool.
Life comes to certain moments where you could go left or right.
Yeah.
Could have not gone on that plane. You could have not, went left or went right. You could have not moved over to New Jersey. There's so many times you could have just went this way and said it that way. Is there one moment in your life that was very pivotal that you'd say, like, that was the moment that sent me into a good journey? You have a beautiful family and you live in a beautiful place and you've had all these great experiences. Is there one point where you're like, wow, I'm really glad I went this way? Because if I would have went that way, like, it might not have been.
I'll summarize it to you in one word: Maria. That's it.
That's my mother-in-law.
I didn't have to ask.
Yeah.
That okay.
One word.
Yep.
Simply this, because when I started to notice her, this was back in Scholastic magazines. I really didn't kind of was interested until somebody said, "Hey, I think she likes you. You need to talk to her." And I said, "Oh, I don't know if I want to do this now." Well, the more I got to know her, I quickly knew that this was the right person with the right background. I was older than her, top of that. So I said to her after 3 months, "Hey, listen, I don't have any money, but
Good game.
Go in with no false front.
Yeah.
I don't have any money. I just want you to know that. But if you don't mind, I would like to marry you." And she took me up on it, and we're still there.
I thought you were going to ask her to
Yeah,
coffee
like get
or
a
lunch. Like, I'm broke. I'm not even going to ask you on a date. Like, could we just get married?
That is the cheaper route.
I have not tried that method yet, but I may start.
And following up on that, we got married at George in Englewood, New Jersey. And her mom didn't like that. you need to be married in church. So
That's very Italian.
We married originally in August of 1973. Then we married again in November of 73 in church.
Had to do it twice, man.
So that is the one constant in my life. I'm very grateful for all the years that she's been with me.
I'm grateful you made that decision as well.
Yeah, that was good for you all the way down the line.
It worked real well for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing, besides Maria, has been the opportunity to blend in the United States. I gave up my Colombian citizenship because it was a thing to do. But now there is a law in Colombia that allows you to be a dual citizen. So I kind of regained that. I'm a dual citizen. I don't know why I need to have a passport from Colombia nowadays, but my home is here. Absolutely. Transition is permanent.
Home is where your family is.
That's right. Agree with that.
And family is what you make of it. Doesn't even have to be blood. It can be, it's those that bring you the joy and see things the way that you do. And you can live on that harmonic level.
Yeah. Absolutely. While I have the opportunity, let me express this feeling to you guys. Thank you for this memory lane that you've been giving me, because many times you don't have a good outlet or a good venue to kind of talk about these things. Just do, and never remember what you've been through. And this. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to express the things that I had so many years, and then hopefully somebody will listen and maybe resonate with them. I say, hey, dude, you sound right. Instead of, who are you?
I hope they will. And one of the lessons that you've taught me and everyone listening is take advice. Don't know everything.
No.
Somebody gave you advice to come here. Somebody gave you advice about learning the language. Somebody gave you advice, and don't take everybody's advice. But if you look at someone and they seem to know something, like, go that way. Don't think you know everything. Don't be afraid to stop learning too.
Opportunities present themselves for a reason.
Yeah.
Too often we live in that spiral mindset. I was talking to Gary about it earlier. Like, I described the mind as a quarter spinning. And too often we sit inside that mindset and we don't realize all the things that are going on around us, and that those opportunities are there all the time. But if your mind is spinning at the time, you don't get it. And I'll repeat it over and over. You're a very mindful man. And all I hear throughout these conversations is you're listening to what each person is presenting to you, whether it's going to party, somewhere, or it's, hey, make sure that you, pay attention to this particular, use Gabe, not Gabriel, that kind of thing. And making those conscious discernments and I don't know what I'm trying to get across here, but I think that I see that.
Yes, it's sometimes things are in front of you, and pretty much you can go left, right, center, up, down, downtown, whatever you want to call it. But it goes. You need to have a counterbalance, which is your upbringing. You have to respect that. It was given to you for a reason. You need to kind of embrace it, use it, and then hopefully be an example to others. I don't know. That's how it's been for me. Another big lesson that I learned when I started to be a manager for many corporations was listen, and then listen, because there are many subtle messages behind that. And if you listen, you will be a more successful manager rather than shouting orders left and right. Unless you happen to be in war, then you listen there, but because somebody's shouting at you. But in real life, learn to listen. If you do that, you'll be.
I love it.
I learned that.
Do you have anything else you want to ask, Gary? I feel like I've learned a lot today.
Yeah, I think I would like to continue this at a later time, and there's so many things to unpack there.
Oh, yes.
I guess just what time's dinner?
You're going to have to call her, make an appointment.
What do you call her? The Minister of War?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's his title for her, the Minister of War.
Amazing.
That's what I call her.
Very
If I don't listen, I get hit with a ladle on the side of my head. Okay, or I get skinned somehow. If I don't listen, I better listen.
Let's get out of here before we take a ladle to the head.
Sounds good.
Dad, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it, truly. I really did. You just kind of put me through a sieve, and hopefully now I feel better. Now it's in my memory bank.
I love it.
Perfect.
I also, if you happen to need, I have some old pictures. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely be sharing that for sure.
Is there for consumption.
There's one of his 5'9" self slam dunking a basketball.
I need to see that. We'll put that on the screen. And I'll put my face on it.
Put
My face with Photoshop, but with longer shorts.
Let me tell you this. For so many years, I tried to slam dunk. And the best I could do was have the ball up on the rim, half the ball up on the rim. And I keep saying to myself, my God, I think it's the shoes. Not me.
Everybody blamed the shoes.
Ad campaign about that. My favorite shoes ever. And got to be the shoes. It was Spike Lee, playing a character Mars Blackman. Got to be the shoes. Got to be the shoes. Got to be the shoes.
But it's funny, though, because when I had my high school coach, that guy was my size, and he was dunking. I don't know how he did it. But you could see his muscles, The upper thigh, you can see them.
Donkey thighs.
Yeah.
Okay, you can see. And now I know it's not the shoes, it's his muscles. I know.
Still buying the shoes, and I still can't dunk. I think in your 40s you'd learn.
I'll always try.
I will try.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. And remember, everybody, be cool and keep learning.